All right, folks, how are you doing? This is the Doug Rice Show. Welcome. I am Doug Rice, coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere west of the Rockies, north of the Seattle. I don't freaking know where I'm at, folks, and who cares? It doesn't matter. We are all in the middle of it, in the thick of it. It's about to go down as I raise the desk up so I can sit up. Good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in these United States, amongst these United Snakes. We are about to go through the gambit. We are about to go through the receipts. We're about to talk about some things that we dare to repeat. And I do thank you. No matter how many are here, I have seen so much that has come to bear on this country as we all prepare to get clear and try our best to get out of here. It's what I think about every day. As I go about my way, I'm sure you do too. Most conscious, woke Negroes like you have the thought, the idea that maybe they ought to get out of here. I don't know. But anyway, I do appreciate folks showing up. I'm going to go over some stuff today. For those of you that have missed me, I've gone about my way and gotten a job and all these things that every other Slav has to go about doing before being brought to ruin. But I am at least going to try to do a show ever so often, just so you know I'm still here. And I am still remaining as clear in my content as I can be. And I'm still out here for everybody to see, though just trying to do this as weekly instead of daily. So, appreciate you being here. The title, The Unavoidable, The Inevitable. That's what we are looking at, folks. I mean, that's what's going on. And I dare say not too many of us, especially those of us that are so hell-bent on maintaining the status quo of being here, I don't think they're taking a look at the deep, dark corners of this country, watching as the mechanisms turn the tide against Negroes slowly but surely. Most just see a world war brewing. Most see, economic ruin, unavoidable. Most see perhaps a civil war. Most see all of these things we can't ignore. But I see the inevitable and eventuality of the decline of the United States. Not just the decline, its eventual demise, its eventual being brought down, and all the things that most folks don't want to talk about in public places to maintain the smile on benign faces. They don't look to the facts. They don't look to the facts of the matter, because facts don't matter. They don't matter anymore. Well, I got some facts that folks can't ignore, and we're going to go through those facts, as a matter of fact, factually. And just like that, let me tell you something. This ain't a joke. I'm not here just running my mouth, although I could run my mouth all damn day. Let me remove that and get that out of the way. And I do appreciate you folks being here. As you can see, described down below right there, it says to like, subscribe, and of course, share. Hit that notification bell as well. And thank you for tuning into the Doug Rice Show. American decline. Look, I decided to go somewhere where things are updated on a constant basis, kept updated by unassociated faces. As you may or may not know, Wikipedia is a free encyclopedia. An American Decline is an article that can be updated by those who contribute to this encyclopedia. That's what Wikipedia is. You can see the edit, you can see the history, and I don't know, I'm not privy to the names of the folks that contribute. That remains a mystery to me. We're going to go through this, and we're all going to see what we see. And if you don't mind, and if you can excuse me, just give it a moment or two. And who knows, it might get plain as day to you. I don't know, who knows. American Decline. First, let's define. American Decline is the idea that the United States of America is diminishing in power on a relative basis, geopolitically, militarily, financially, economically, and technologically. It can also refer to absolute declines demographically, socially, morally, spiritually, culturally, in matters of healthcare and or on environmental issues. And as we cover this Wikipedia of information, as we disseminate this throughout the Negro nation, I give to you the link so that you too may take and think and just, to get above the stink of the lie they continue to deliver. All right, so that's a lot of that's a lot of context, a lot of content, a lot of places, a lot of faces, demographically, socially, morally, spiritually, culturally, in matters of healthcare and or on environmental issues. And dear God, thanks so much for being here, you folks. Sharice Reed, thank you. Dion Lewin, thank you. Oh my goodness, Bushcraft Bandit. David Pickett, thanks so much, folks, in the thick of it. I appreciate it. Now, American Decline, shrinking military advantages, deficit spending, geopolitical overreach, and a shift in moral, social, and behavioral conditions have been associated with American decline. Pay attention. The ascent of China. Again, I'll say it again. The ascent of China as a potential superpower emerged as a central concern in discussions about the decline of American influence since the late 2010s, with some scholars suggesting that China has the potential to challenge the United States' current position as the world's leading superpower, though other scholars have criticized this view. Scholars say that the perception of decline or declinism has long been part of the American culture. And so, folks, listen, this isn't a joke. I go one step further to the unavoidable and inevitable, the unthinkable in most Americans' minds. I'm not just talking about the American decline. I'm talking about the American destruction, the American invasion, the American enslavement. We're going to go into some topics that's going to make their jaws hit the pavement. Folks, look, decline, that's a nice, soft, gentle way of saying you useless, whiny, entitled, privileged, nosy, trifling European Americans are soon going to put to good use. Oh yes, we're gonna let my thoughts loose today. It's not just about a decline, it's on the minds of folks that are looking at America in kind. They are looking at what can be done with these individuals about to go into a civil war amongst 300 million individuals, some in defense, some and for. How can they avoid the inevitable clash being put together by the right-wing white nationalism that's gripping the throats of the weak-minded and mentally blinded individuals? Well, I'm going to tell you something, folks. As we As we peer into the corners of these dark places and look on the expression of foreign faces, we know that just behind their eyes, they have something in mind. You know, they're not going to let 300 million people lose control of this situation. They're not going to allow the United States to be an uninhabitable, uncontrollable nation if they can help it. And so they're watching the terrain. They're watching these Europeans go insane. But let's continue with more of a detailed look into the American decline. Let me see if I can make the print a little bigger before I show you mine. Hold on, folks. Nope, I think, well, I can go a little bit bigger. There we go. So let's now talk about an assessment. Okay? The assessment. According to Jeet here, U.S. hegemony has always been supported by three pillars: economic strength, military might, and the soft power of cultural dominance. According to American diplomat Eric S. Eldman, the declinists, or those who believe America is in decline, have been consistently wrong in the past. However, American political scientist Aaron Friedberg cautioned that just because the declinists were wrong in the past does not mean they will be incorrect in their future prediction. And that some of the arguments by the declinists or declinists deserve to be taken seriously. Now, folks, if you're looking at this with me, please understand that every reference is highlighted in blue and is a clickable link to its origins. It's very important that they provide those receipts. So if you're following along with me on a separate device, be sure to take a look at those more than twice. Political scientists Matthew Kronig argues Washington has followed the same basic three-step geopolitical plan since 1945. First, the United States built the current rules-based international system. Second, it welcomed into the club any country that played by the rules, even former adversaries. And third, the United States worked with its allies to defend the system from those countries or groups that would challenge it. And how's that working out so far, folks? What do you see? Let's continue. And remember, they're assessing the decline of the United States, all the things that go into it, all the calculus. Deficit spending. Paul Kennedy posits that continued deficit spending, especially on military buildup, is the single most important reason for decline of any great power. The costs of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, were as of 2017 estimated to run as high as $4.4 trillion, which Kennedy deems a major victory for Osama bin Laden, whose announced goal was to humiliate America by showcasing its casualty averseness and lack of will to persist in a long-term conflict. Does that sound familiar? By 2011, the U.S. military budget, almost matching that of the rest of the world combined, was higher in real terms than any time since World War II. And folks, that has continued. Kennedy made similar assessments about American decline in his book, The Rise and Fall of the Greater Powers, in which he projected a need to manage affairs so that the relative erosion of the United States position takes place slowly and smoothly. The book was published in 1989, 3 years before the dissolution of the Soviet Union and several years before the bursting of the Japanese asset price bubble, leaving the United States as the sole remaining superpower and the dominant political and economic power internationally. Well, now, what we're talking about, folks, is the unavoidable and inevitable destruction of the United States. Its eventual enslavement. All of the details that'll make their jaws hit the pavement. And you know, these Europeanized, idolized individuals seem aloof as to what their future might be. They think that this could never happen. They say this about themselves. And they know that it's happened to other cultures. Other cultures have been conquered. While they bicker amongst themselves, these kinds of facts that we look to substantiate what we talk about, these individuals, they don't pay attention to this. And they keep the U.S. public, as they watch the controlled media, the news that they call information, they dumb down the information as much as possible, but more importantly, they don't tell their citizens the truth. You have to search to prove the destruction that's coming about. And you find it in these types of publications, in Wikipedia. You find it by keeping up with brothers and sisters who are in the fight to maintain the information coming at your minds at light speed, like Brother Dante Fortson at Tion Ministries, Sister E. A new brother I've talked about, his name is Morey. I've shared him from time to time. You folks who watch, who follow me on Facebook, follow me on all these different social media platforms, I don't do this just for my own edification. I do this because I am urged by some power to move forward in maintaining at least some sort of connection with Negroes, informing them as I go. And that is the reason for the Doug Rice Show. I tried to slide a little plug into my sorry. Well, you know, I got to do that. I don't know if my moderator's here. If Katrina's here, thank you so much. I just did this as an impromptu show and such. Here we go. Let's talk about geopolitical overreach. According to historian Emmanuel Todd, an expansion in military activity and aggression can appear to reflect an increase in capacity while masking a decline in actual power. He observes that this occurred with the Soviet Union in the 70s, with Russia currently, and with the Roman Empire, and that the United States may be going through a similar period in time. There were 38 large and medium-sized American facilities spread around the globe in 2005. That's 20 years ago. Mostly air and naval bases. Approximately the same number as Britain's 36 naval bases and army garrisons at its imperial zenith in 1898. Kennedy compares the U.S. situation to Great Britain's prior to World War I, saying that the map of the United States bases is similar. Everything seems to be mirroring the past destruction of other cultures. And it's going to more likely be throughout this publication that they continue that comparison. As we know, through time, you know, history has a way of repeating itself. And we see what's happening now. The world is turning its back on the United States. The world is slowly diverting its resources from obtaining them through Western means and through other means. And if you, again, have followed anything I've done on Facebook, anything I've done on Twitter or on Twitch or TikTok, you'll know some of the articles that I've shared point to this inextricably. Culture. Commentators such as Alan Bloom, E.D. Hirsch, and Russell Jacoby have suggested American culture is in decline. Samuel P. Huntington commented critically on a trend in American culture and politics of predicting constant decline since the late 1950s. As he saw it, declinism came in several distinct waves, namely in reaction to the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik, to the Vietnam War, to the oil shock of '73, to the Soviet tensions in the late 1970s, and to the general unease that accompanied the end of the Cold War. According to American historian Russell Jacoby, the rise of academic Marxism, radical political economies, and critical literary and cultural studies since World War II has contributed to the decline of American culture. Now, William J. Bennett argued that Americans' cultural decline is signaling a shift in the public's attitudes and beliefs. Listen to that. The attitudes and beliefs of Americans, as I come off this just slightly, for me, I don't know about the rest of you, as they continue to murder Negroes indiscriminately, as they continue to gang up on us 6 at a time and torture us in our homes, and then sob apologetically when they're caught in court paying the price. I don't know. There is a shift in the public's attitudes and beliefs, and that core shift lies at the feet of what they think regarding those that don't look as they look, specifically because they seem to fog out the real reason, the pointed reason that pushes their hatred. And it's about Negroes. It's about us. It's about us being in their vicinity. There is a shift. You know, they don't want to say outwardly what their problem is. They don't. But if you look at them just such a certain way, they will have no choice but to release in open public their attitude toward you. And if you are not experiencing this, then you're obviously giving them the signal that you're okay with all that's happening, that you have forgotten and forgiven, and it's all behind you. And, you know, though their ancestors put ours through sheer horror, all is forgiven. That was long ago, and we are now cooperating Negroes. If you give that vibe, I'm certain that you get along, and you will not get along with me. However, if you have any inclination toward history and the truth, any inclination toward looking square in the eye, the facts as they are, the origins of our being here, and the future as it lies before us, well, you will reject anything they have to offer by way of explanation or apology, and await the decline and the eventual destruction of this country, as it is so well deserved. But right now, all we're doing as we take that short break is examine those contributory factors toward this country's eventual demise. And it doesn't just come from my mouth. I'm quoting their own experts that show without doubt that what we have in front of us is, well, an eventual removal from the global canvas any memory that the United States ever existed. Let's continue. According to the Index of Leading Cultural Indicators published in 1993, statistically portraying the moral, social, and behavioral conditions of modern American society, often described as values, America's cultural condition was in decline with respect to the situation of 30 years ago, 1963. The index showed that there has been an increase in violent crime by more than 6 times, illegitimate births by more than 5 times, the divorce rate by 5 times, the percentage of children living in single-parent homes by 4 times, and the teenage suicide rate by 3 times during the 30-year period. However, by 2011, Bennett and others had social metrics since 1993. Had acknowledged that there was a marked reduction in the violent crime rate, a reduction of suicide and divorce, as well as improvements in many other, social metrics since 1993. Bennett wrote that contemporary authors see this improving metrics as evidence that the social decline from the 60s to the 90s was temporary, while others, including Bennett, remain skeptical. So let's unpack that a little bit, folks, if I might. what they're inadvertently pointing to, and then let's stop with the fog of bullshit, okay? What they're talking about there between, the 60s and the 90s, whatever, 30 years, whatever the fuck they're talking about. They may be referring to the infused crime-driven rates as a result of the Nixon administration bouncing off the civil rights movement, which terrified these individuals, such to the point that they wanted to fracture the household and the nuclear family of Negroes. As unified as we were in the 50s and 60s, that was no longer the case. And entrenched in the 80s and 90s was not only the division, but of course the incarceration and the drugs, all of this, by design. So when they fit that little verbiage into this content, I can only see what they're referring to. However, let it not escape your Negro notice that so much of those who take advantage of the social welfare systems in this country are not Negroes. I digress. I just wanted to unpack that a little bit because, the time frame given discussing all the increases in divorce and child single family home, all of these things, again, folks, that was a design put in place to fracture the Negro family. That's all that was. But we'll see. I want to see where they go. Let's go. So according to Kenneth Weisbrod, though some statistics point to American decline, increased death rate, political paralysis, and increased crime, Americans have had a low culture for a very long time and have long promoted it. He thinks that the obsession with decline is not something new, as something dating back to the Puritans. Culture decline, in other words, is as American as apple pie, Weisbrod argues. Weisbrod likens pre-revolutionary France and present-day America for their vulgarity, which he argues is an almost natural extension or outcome of all that is civilized, a glorification of ego. A glorification of ego. Daniel Bell argued that the perception of decline is part of the culture. What the long history of the American declinism, as opposed to America's actual possible decline, suggests, says Bell, is that these anxieties have an existence of their own that is quite distinct from the actual geopolitical position of our country, that they arise as much from something deeply rooted in the collective psyche of our chattering classes as from sober political and economic analysis. I guess I'm a part of that chattering class, proudly so. According to Real Clear Politics, declarations of Americans' declining power have been common since the beginning of the country. According to Australian journalist Nick Bryant, warnings of America's decline are by no means new. In the 20th century, declinism came in several distinct waves. In 2011, a book, Thomas L. Friedman and Michael Mandelbaum argued that the United States was in the midst of its fifth wave of declinism. The first had come with the Sputnik, the second, Vietnam War, third, Jimmy Carter's malaise, the rise of Japan, the fourth, the increased power of China. According to Lieber, the declinist proclamations in 2021 about America have appeared ever since America's founding. And it can be instructive to compare current arguments and prescriptions of the new declinism with ideas of earlier eras. Well, what I'm getting from these folks is there's nothing to see here. What that particular portion of the Wikipedia article tells me is there's nothing to see here. The reinforcement of the impossibility in the minds of these privileged, entitled individuals is that nothing can come to stop their rise. I got to tell you something, folks. I look at what happens in pre-Nazi Germany to someone that they gave no real account to until it was too late, responsible for the murder of millions of people, openly racist, hate-filled, angry, complaining individual, laying blame on the ills of the country on others. And we watch as the parallel circumstance plays out in real time here in this country. And so many are quick to dismiss the likes of Donald Trump as the one likely to bring about the country's destruction. But at this point, it almost seems as if it's inevitable. As I've said, the unavoidable, the inevitable, led by the unthinkable. A man so devoid of any character or any kind of solvable, anything that can be called, skills. This guy is beyond failure. And he aligns perfectly with what I call the white mind. And folks, let me clear this up because I think it's important. When I talk about the white mind, the white culture, when I talk about white people, I'm not talking about individuals as white people. I'm talking about the collective construct that fuels all of this, that silent knowing, that code that some of them end up showing. You guys know that individually and by person, you meet their representative. You don't meet the actual person itself. So the construct that I'm painting regarding what we're up against does not involve singling out individuals, but the persons that are a part of that construct make themselves known through defense or through taking it personally and commenting. So I wanted to put that out there. So, oh man, I tried to get through that one, but I did. Here we go. Wanted to get through that one because so many that will listen to what I say will take it personally, go about their day and think, oh my God, this person is this and this person is that. I am just a few things. I'm an anti-racist and I'm an anti-Zionist. And all I'm talking about today is the decline and eventual destruction of the United States. And we can bring in some proof. So please like, subscribe, share, and I appreciate you being here. Let's continue. We're almost done. Political polarization. David Leonard writes that incomes, wealth, and life expectancy in the United States have stagnated for much of the population, contributing to an angry national mood of exacerbating political division. The result is a semi-dysfunctional government that is eroding many of the country's largest advantages over China. Jonathan Hopkins writes that decades of neoliberal policies, which made the United States the most extreme case of the subjection of society to the brutal force of the market, resulted in unprecedented levels of inequality. And combined with an unstable financial system and limited political choices, paved the way for political instability and revolt, as evidenced by the resurgence of the left as represented by Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential campaign and the rise of an unlikely figure like Donald Trump to the presidency of the United States. So they talk about the political polarization, and it's only gotten worse. It's only gotten more pronounced, and now it's getting dangerous. Donald Trump isn't just gassing them in court. He's not just farting and trying to, light people out of the courtroom. You can imagine what will happen if that clown gets to power. All the payback he has pent up in his ass. Let me tell you. He can't wait, folks. He cannot wait. In 2021, Michael McFaul, former U.S. ambassador to Russia from 2012 to 2014, stated his belief that the U.S. has faced a democratic decline stemming from elite polarization and damage done by former President Donald Trump to trust in elections and bonds with Democratic allies. McFaul states that the decline in democracy weakens national security and heavily restrains foreign policy. Well, now, today, what they are is terrified. Let me just say this, folks. They are scared to death right now. They are terrified because they can see the alignment. Fascism is when, the folks that could do something aren't there. And I've said it before, they have killed off their blood and treasure. Anybody that could stop Donald Trump is long dead. Anybody that could somehow regress the wave of white nationalism and right-wing white supremacy that's creeping up from behind these folks. That's what it's doing. While those that claim to be good people look the other way, you got folks that are as bad as it gets, just, trying to take over. And they're doing a good job. They are being put in place in places where they do not like our face, filling spaces that, they ain't going to leave a trace of Negroes ever being here. Let's continue because I'm almost done. I just want to bring it to a close. All right. So there are just a few more contributing things. We've gone through quite a bit. My goodness, we just got this many and that's it. All right, here we go. So the economy, Jeffrey Sachs observed in the U.S. share of world income was 24.6% in 1980, falling to 19.1% in 2011. The ratio of average CEO earnings to average workers' pay in the U.S. went from 24 to 1 in 1965, the year I was born, to 262 to 1 in 2005. Good Lord, they're getting rich. In 2018, income inequality reached the highest level recorded by the Census Bureau. Some centrists believe that the American fiscal crisis stems from the rising expenditures on social programs, or alternatively, from the increases in military spending from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, both of which would lead to decline. However, Richard Lackman argues that if military and overall spending is not pressuring the United States economy, they would not contribute to U.S. decline. Lackman described the real problem as the misallocation of government revenues and expenditures, resulting in resources being diverted from the tasks vital to maintain economic or geopolitical dominance. Kennedy argues that as military expenses grow, this reduces investments in economic growth, which eventually leads to the downward spiral of slower growth, heavier taxes, deepening domestic splits over spending priorities, and weakening capacity to bear burdens of defense. That's being lived out right now as we speak, folks. They are up in arms about what to do about Ukraine. They may have passed a budget while I am speaking, who knows? But it seems odd that they have all of these millions of dollars to give to everyone else except those that deserve it. And if I'm talking about Negroes, if that strikes a chord with you, fine. If it strikes a chord that they should give to someone else, then let that be on your mind. But they sure are picky about who they're giving money to these days. I'm just saying. They got a lot of money to give folks in Ukraine. What? They got a lot of money to give the folks in the state of Israel. And it seems to me that those folks are the same folks to me. I'm just saying, but so the economic burden of those two responsibilities, and you bring those responsibilities in focus with the billions upon billions of other dollars that is all going out and not in the hands of Negroes. And pretty soon, you're going to take notice. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's continue. We're almost done with this section. Health. The economists Ann Case and Ann Deaton attributed rising mortality, which is mostly impacting the working class, to the flaws in contemporary capitalism. That's all they gave health. Wow. Competition with China, the China challenging the United States for global dominance, constitutes a core issue in the debate over the American decline. We don't even have to read the stats. We know. Just look at them. Comparison with earlier. So, Roman Empire. Certain commentators, historians, and politicians believe the United States is heir to the Roman Empire. According to Christopher Allerfelt, there are divergent views regarding Rome versus U.S. comparison. He believes that the Roman metaphor provides a scholarly patina to the expression of visceral hopes, and he too thinks it's all we just playing, right? Britain. This guy says that Britain's financial was the single most decisive factor in its victories over France during the 18th century. This chapter ends on the Napoleonic Wars and the fusion of British financial strength with the newfound industrial strength. He predicts that as the US dollar loses its role as world currency, it will not be able to continue financing its military expenditures via deficit spending. According to Richard Lackman, the U.S. would last much longer if, like Britain, it could restrict particular families and elites from exclusively controlling offices and governmental power. Wow. You guys read that right there? That's the statement of the hour. Well, now, that seems a bit appropriate. I mean, if only these exclusively controlling families and elites, who would those individuals be? I don't know. Let me take a look and see. How about the synagogue of Satan? How about that? Because we keep giving money to those they relate to. I'm just saying, they ain't playing. They giving that money out, folks. And you can believe and understand Negroes ain't going to get a dime of it, ever. Ever. All right, let's continue. I don't want to be too clever. Okay, I'm stopped. Soviet Union historian Hal James published a 2020 article titled Late Soviet America. Ooh, Late Soviet America. Comparing the present day United States to the former Soviet Union. James wrote that many aspects of the United States now resemble the late Soviet Union. Listen up, folks. Intensification of social conflict, ethnic, racial rivalries, and economic decline. He predicted that the dollar may lose its value and start looking like the Soviet ruble. James ended the article saying that the economic decline will continue even if there is change in leadership, pointing to Mikhail Gorbachev's inability to prevent collapse despite coming to power just a few years after Leonid Brezhnev's death. Also, 2020 political commentary, Julius Crane argued that the ongoing American state of decline parallels the late Soviet Union vis-a-vis the unmistakable slide into gerontocracy. And if you don't know what gerontocracy, because I think I do, gerontocracy is a form of oligarchical rule in which an entity is ruled by leaders who are significantly older than most of the adult population. Well now, what a way to end this rather informative Wikipedia section. So, this isn't just an assessment without facts. And that's part of why I wanted to do this. The decline, the unavoidable, the inevitable, also marks and indicates something for us. It indicates that we need to start looking for the exits. Most of us are here kind of contemplating, what might or might not happen. But let me just say this. We are not involved in any of the decisions being made that will soon affect this place. No one is asking us any questions. No one gives a damn what Negroes think. What they do, they will do with or without our consent. And with that in mind, as we look and see them losing their mind, I think that we need to find a way out and save our black mind. No doubt. Yeah, I wanted to just, anyway. So that's first half of the show. I'm going to continue just so you know. I got some news for Negroes to peruse. I got receipts because I want to be as complete as I can be. And so let me look here so I can see. Hold on. Make sure I got this right and not wrong. All right, so there we go. So thanks for tuning in to the Doug Rice Show. Thanks for showing in live. Thanks for doing all that you do so that Doug Rice Show might survive. If you have it within your strength or within your will to help me try to pay a bill, look down below and you'll see how you can support the Doug Rice Show. That's me. I appreciate you being here. I did want to get deeper into that eventual destruction, but I wanted to keep it as watchable as possible. You guys know how I go in. And more than that, I just wanted to point out their sin. Oh, I don't know. I just went there. Who knows? But you guys know the second part of the show is called Black News. What I do is I search term 2 words, Black News. And all I do is just kind of see what they give me to give to you. So let's see what we got. First things first, and this is not a lot. These Black American inventors changed history. History ignored them. So there are a lot of things that we are responsible for. A lot of things. An enslaved West African man called Onesimus pioneered vaccination in America. After passing on age-old knowledge in 1716 of a method of smallpox inoculation to Cotton Mather, Puritan minister who purchased him a decade earlier. Together with a local doctor, Mather successfully put Onesimus' method to the test during smallpox outbreak in Boston, 1721, paving the way for mass inoculation. He saved white lives. He gets no credit, I would suppose. No, he saved lives. And what, I don't know, did he not? Yeah, I think he did. Let me hide that so you see it with me. Boom. Just giving you a few examples here. What's this? Salmon, cotton gin. We all know about the cotton gin, 1793. Enslaved African American inventors were rarely recognized for their achievements. With their white owners often taking the credit, Eli Whitney is lauded for the invention of cotton gin, a seed removing machine which revolutionized the production of cotton. But the farmer and teacher actually got the idea from who? Sam. He got it from Sam, y'all. Sam. Sam, whose father invented a cotton seed removing comb. Here we go. Dry cleaning. Check him out. He looks stern, doesn't he? Dry cleaning. Enslaved African Americans were barred from holding patents, meaning only free Black people could own and gain financially from their invention. A freedman, Thomas Jennings, was the first African American patent holder. Jennings invented dry cleaning in 1820, was granted a patent that followed the following year, and used the money he'd earned from the invention to buy the freedom of enslaved relatives, as well as support abolitionist causes. You see that right there? You see that right there? Yeah. Take that in right there, y'all. All right, Joe Anderson, Mechanical Reaper, 1831. Similar to the cotton gin. Mechanical Reaper transformed agriculture around the world. Is also credited to a white inventor, the businessman Cyrus McCormick. But As is the case with the cotton gin, the reaper was co-invented by an enslaved African American, in this instance, a man called Joe Anderson, who worked closely with McCormick on the 1831 invention. Let me tell you what's interesting. Even if McCormick wanted to share the invention with him, he probably would have been skewered. Improved steam propeller, 1850s. I like to look at the face of our ancestors. I want you to look at that face. I want you to imagine what this brother has been through, what he went through. That experience somehow connects to us. It's what makes us continue. That determined look. In the face of the horrors, I can only imagine Benjamin Montgomery saw. Born into slavery, Benjamin Montgomery invented a steam propeller in the 1850s that could operate effectively in shallow waters. But as an enslaved person, he was cruelly denied a patent for his innovation. Montgomery did, however, become successful and influential. After his freedom was granted after the Civil War, the inventor ran a popular local store, which eventually gave him enough money to purchase the plantation he had worked on. Montgomery amassed further wealth and was the first African-American official elected in Mississippi. Give that man a standing ovation. Thank you so much, Mr. Montgomery. And stop. All right. I mean, it goes on, folks. I'm not going to read them all, but these are the brothers and sisters who rise and fall. All right. You can stop and probably see a few of them. But you guys don't. You just got to love them. Next. All right. Black parents tell Dr. Phil they're angry with government for funding illegal migrants as taxpayers struggle. Are they angry? I bet they are angry. Two black parents struggling to make ends meet criticized how the federal government is managing the economy and their tax dollars on a Thursday night episode of Dr. Phil. You know, here's the deal with that. What's Dr. Phil going to do? I mean, who is Dr. Phil? Does he represent Negroes? Is he somehow advocating to these folks come as a brother and sister parents to hey, what's happening? We go to Dr. Phil. You don't even think about going to Oprah. That's Oprah left. Maybe that's Oprah left. But why are you going to Dr. Phil? Is he going to do something? Was he going to give you some money? He's not going to give you money. Anyway, the American dream is the American nightmare. Phil opened the episode saying that America should be a meritocracy where those who work hard, have talent, and add value are rewarded. Shut the fuck up. But that its current state is another story. Listen, white man, shut up. I hate that, man. I do. You couldn't do that. The only way that's going to work is you got to get rid of all of you, because that is an impossibility for you to do. Jordan said it was an American dream is the American nightmare. My wife wants to have another baby, we just can't afford it. Okay. Only half my family has health insurance right now. My income, this is all by design. It's all by design. It's a way of us losing our mind. It's all by design. So the reason this doesn't, why are we staying here? What was so we have been complaining about the American dream and its obtaining, and we have been here remaining, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. Is there any sense? I mean, what's happening? So someone like me sounds crazy for telling you to look for the exits. I'm trying to simply advocate possible, leaving. There's a way of achieving, just, going. I don't know. There's no way of knowing. But look, you don't even have to go anywhere, but can at least some of you look like you want to go? I mean, damn. But, and all of this is happening, all of this in our face, all of this all day, every day, and yet Negroes remain and stay. All right, let's continue. All right. So, yeah, we get it. We understand. Right. We wouldn't have these if it weren't for black women. Okay, then. We would not have these if it weren't for black women. First home security system, another invention thing. I like that one. That's cool. She invented home security. Heck yeah. If one person gonna design a way to keep not their house, black woman will gonna do it. Protect the children. There we go. She invented the sanitary belt. Really, we got even a picture. Very good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay. HVAC system. What? Wow, this is an informative thing. She is black. Okay. She's a black woman. Gotcha. All right. Forget it. Fiber optic cables. Okie dokie. There you go. Sarah Boone, dressmaker, pattern cheap, it's convenient, highly effective device. A way to improve the ironing board. Very good. We appreciate that. Clothes wringer and washing machines. Who'd have thought about that? I didn't know that. That's it. That's pretty cool. I like that. Just, a little bit of interesting stuff that they took away from us once they found it was useful and had value. Just give everybody heads up on what that's about. Okay. Doctor Who star complains that white mediocrity is celebrated while black people struggle to get half that. Excuse me, you're getting paid a bunch of money to be on a TV show and you're mad that other black people don't have money. And we appreciate that, but keep your mouth shut and take your check. Quietly give to brothers and sisters on the down low. Leave people the fuck alone. Because you look stupid talking about white mediocrity with this shit around your neck. Do I need, yeah? Is this you talking about white mediocrity? Is this you in Scotland with a big old shit-eating, cheese-eating grin on your face, wearing diamonds enough to feed 7-8 families for a year? You take exception to white mediocrity, do you? I'm not even going to read it. Straight up. Black undercover officer beaten up by his own colleagues awarded $23.5 million. So what happened was Luther Hall, St. Louis police officer, president of the street protest 2017, he was working undercover. His disguise was apparently so good that his fellow officers failed to recognize him, and they mercilessly beat him on the street. And they gave him $23.5 million. Boy, they beat his black ass. All right? That's what they did. Okay? So the incident occurred 2 days after Jason Stokely, a former St. Louis police officer, was acquitted after the fatal shooting of Anthony Lamar Smith. So you like being here. This is you, huh? Y'all like this shit, right? Right? But y'all will struggle to fulfill that American dream, to stay in the American nightmare. I feel you. That hit me. You know what he's going to do? He's going to buy a house. You would think he would take that money and get the fuck out of this country. You give me half that money, I'll leave so fast it ain't even funny. Bam! That one landed. Black Chicago voters rip mayor on extra $70 million for migrants. As recall petition gathers steam. $70 million. Do you know what we could do with $70 million in the Black Chicago hood? Not a damn thing, because being there ain't no good. I'm done with that. A Georgia beach aims to disrupt black students' spring bash after big crowds brought chaos in 2023. Well, just cancel the damn thing. Hell, you know me. Cancel it. The fuck are you doing? Just cancel it. Have it somewhere else. You know what? Where are these big stars at? Okay. Now this gonna accommodate, I don't even know how many people. Several thousand. Okay. Several thousand people. God knows how many people. Where are these big money black celebrities that can have, a bash for 20, 30,000 people somewhere privately, paid several $1 million to just take this off the street somewhere private where just us, and then see what happens. I would like to see an event without white influence once. And I mean, we got to go far, far away for that to happen. I was just asking. I'm trying to wrap it up, folks. Relax. Trump keeps trying to court black voters, but who's actually buying this shit? Members of Blacks for Trump, led by Maurice Simonet, Who the fuck is that? That ain't no dude. That ain't no brother from another mother right there. That's some dude. Come on, man. I didn't mean to be rude, but come on, bro. Okay, anyway. He marched. I've always been stunned at former President Donald Trump's physical prowess. I mean, who can forget when his White House Director of Communications gushed about witnessing Trump throw a what? See, black people like me, as he stood at a Chick-fil-A. A black woman in a restaurant said, I don't care what the media tells you. Mr. Trump, we support you. I support you, massa. Later found out the woman was Michaela Montgomery, a conservative activist who had arranged the entire scene. They learn well from these slave masters, don't they? In Trump land, black people are caricatures of all the worst stereotypes that have ever been imagined. They are rapists, thieves, murderers who want to terrorize. Wait, no, that's immigrants. Let me tell you something, man. I ain't going to take, I'm not going to waste my breath to read this shit about Trump. Let me just say this to you. If by some miracle you have brought about the conclusion that you support this rancid piece of feckless trash, well, then you deserve whatever may become of Negroes who support this man's run. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Every face at this dude is black. That's got him feeling attacked. You understand me? I mean, every face that's after his wallet looks like a Negro. Okay, so where anyone thinks somehow black people voting for him gives a pass to the attitude on him regarding black people, you are sorely mistaken. And the first chance this old faith fossil from the 50s, this son of a goddamn Klansman gets to put Negroes under the bus, he will do it without a goddamned fuss. Now you hear me. And to all the niggas that decided to support this individual, trust me when I tell you, you're gonna get everything you got coming for doing so. It's not even gonna be a question. And we're going to be able to recognize you in the FEMA camps or wherever they put us. You are going to be the Negroes with that confused, goddamn look on your face. That's who you're going to be. I'm here to tell you. You better believe me. So support Donald Trump if you choose. But if you do, you will be that Negro that will lose. Continuing, black Georgia inmate says he was choked by a chain by a jail guard while restrained. Good Lord. And look at this. Look at that right now. Look at that. This specimen. Look at it. Don't look away. What's wrong? I scare you? See, I don't understand. Are we just supposed to overlook this kind of man right here? We just supposed to just say, well, it's a one-off. Do they overlook it? Do they overlook it when they see one of us do something they don't like? A black inmate at a Georgia jail accused a corrections officer of choking him with a leg restraint and making a racist comment while 3 other officers watched. This is what's on their goddamn minds. Okay. Trevor Harris filed a federal civil lawsuit Tuesday in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Georgia against 3 corrections officers with the Appling County Sheriff's Office. The suit says that the officers had a duty to intervene and stop the January 29, 2022 assault, but instead they stood and watched as former Officer William Rentz pulled the chain against the plaintiff's throat and strangled him for about 4 seconds. That's what this rancid-ass piece of feckless trash did. This is who the fuck surrounds Negroes. And let me tell you something. They will grin and cheese and Negro please all goddamn day until they have you on your knees. Rentz, who was not a defendant listed in the lawsuit, was listed as an earlier one filed by Harris, was subsequently arrested and charged with aggravated assault, battery, violation of oath of office. More recent suit, he was terminated by the sheriff's office. I don't give a fuck whether you fired this man Harris was a pretrial detainee at the Apple jail, solitary confinement, according to the suit. While in jail, he was placed in chair, padded cell, so he was helpless. And you see, that's where they're at their most demonic. When they see a Negro helpless, that's when the demon in these creatures shows itself. You can grin and smile in these motherfuckers' faces all goddamn day, but you be a Negro under their control, and you be helpless for just a little too long. And you'll be singing a completely different song. So while Rents choked Harris, the officer said he was going to put you back in the cotton fields with the other boys inferring that the plaintiff was a slave. Now, you need to hear me, man. What do I need to do? What I got to do for you? What's the problem? Everybody okay? What's wrong? Y'all got your mouth open? I'm sorry. Is everybody okay? Everybody all good? You good? You want to like, subscribe, share? You want to support this effort there? I don't know. See, that's what they do. See, so if you are foolish enough to get yourself in the hands of these monsters, I need you to understand what is on their goddamn mind. You understand? This is not some one the fuck off either. This cracker does this shit. Now, in an effort not to get banned, I'm going to try to turn off from this because, as you know, this will get your blood boiling. Will it not? I'm sure it will. Continuing, what does it mean to be a black conservative? It means to support people that work in the police departments of this country. It means that I will not give you another goddamn thought. That's what it means for you to be a black conservative in my mind. It means absolutely nothing. It means you're dismissed. Next! All right, so many are searching for this missing black woman, but not Chicago police. This is interesting. On the morning of April 2nd, Morgan Fairley was wearing a brown wig, light blue jeans, brownish jacket, gym shoes, dicing a potato. She was preparing breakfast. Okay? She was preparing breakfast for herself as her father, Sam Farley, headed out to work. They didn't utter a word to each other, not unusual, her father thought. When Farley returned home that night, the potato oxidized and brown. It was still sitting there. Following day, Farley went to a nearby Chicago police station to fill out a missing person report. The form is not available online, and he wasn't sure if the myth to wait 24 hours was true. He filled out the generic questionnaire, including his 25-year-old daughter's recent experiences of mental health crisis, diagnosed with depression. You see where this is going? This one had a mental health issue, unfortunately. And because of her mental health issues record, the police are not looking for this one. That's a long article. I encourage you to read it. I'm going to put it in the chat because it's something I feel y'all might need it. Also, I didn't know it was that long. Moving on, I'm trying to end the show. All right, what else? 79-year-old grandmother celebrates owning her first home. Now, when I first saw this, I said to myself, what a feel-good moment. And then I thought, look at what they've done to us, that we celebrate a 79-year-old woman finally owning her first home under any circumstance. And the reason this is important, the connective tissue I make with this headline is the fact that when United States servicemen came back from serving World War II, trying to kill and cut down the Aryan horde, the Germanic hordes of white nationalists that called themselves Nazis in Germany. when they murdered and killed as many of those motherfuckers as they could and came back to the United States, heroes. What the United States chose to do was deny those soldiers the ability to buy a fucking home in this country, purposefully and intently, to create the divide between middle class and lower class, done in perpetuity and perfectly. No reach back to the families of those who endured being denied a home. Not like they reached back to the families of the fucking Japanese and gave them money for being interned. And from all of this and all the headlines, this article, what have we learned? That even in this reverse celebration, we know that Negroes don't belong in this nation. 79 years old. You motherfuckers. Next. Yeah, just like that. Supreme Court on homelessness could affect racial justice gap. You damn right. Because if they're not going to do anything for their homeless in this country, they're going to start not doing anything for Black people first. That's just the truth. That's what this article, the headline effectively says that. That is what that headline says. That's what it spoke to me. And lastly, as we don't cheer, the United Nations Forum delivers reparations and racial justice recommendations as youth raise their voice. Wow. Third session of the United Nations Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. That's me and you. Concluded Friday with preliminary recommendations centering reparations and other measures to address the ongoing legacies of colonialism. We're not going to get a goddamn dime. I just wanted to show you, just the futility of it all. And the more they protest, the more they demand, the more they will give us nothing in this land. Okay, that's it. All right, well, I do appreciate you folks being here today. I'm going to send you on your way. I appreciate the likes, the subscribes, the comments. Thank you, everyone here. I'm just one person now, just kind of doing this when I get a chance. I hope we, all of us, got something from this little dance. Again, please like, subscribe, share, do all the things that you see. Wait, down there. My name is Doug Rice. I am going to leave you now, and I'm going to try to get on somehow. You guys have a wonderful Shabbat. Shalom.